Hiya! Welcome. We've got a full house on the panel. For the first time in quite some time, I'm delighted that we are joined by all three of my esteemed co-panelists. This is, of course, the Survivor Series preview panel show. We will predict the results. Sorry, I heard something weird in my headset there. I don't know what that was. Anyway, Jimmy Barnes, of course, as you well know, if you are on this channel, which you would be, otherwise, how would you have found me? I'm joined, as you well know. I'm hearing myself echo. I hate it.
It's this tablet. I don't know why it's got.
Oh, got you. Yeah, you're trying to. I bet you're trying to get the chat. Okay, it's all right. Right.
I think I'll use my phone instead.
Okay. I'm joined by my co-panelists, they being first off, we've got welcome back after his absence last month to NSFM, Jason Clow. Hiya, Jace.
Hello.
Hi, mate. You all right?
Yeah, I'm doing good, myself. Thank you very much.
Good. We've got Project Pops in the chat. Hiya, Kyle. How are you, mate? Hope you're well. I'm also joined by Vicky, aka the Night Owl. Hi, Vicky.
Hey.
How you doing? You all right?
Yeah, doing really good today. I'm really excited, actually, for this weekend.
Yeah, it's another good weekend of wrestling. Yeah, we've got lots to talk about. And of course, last but not least, I'm also joined by Rach Capper. Hiya, Rach.
Hiya.
How you doing? You having a good weekend?
Yeah, I'm having a good weekend.
Excellent. Oh, we've got the Poptimist UK in. Hiya, Poptimist UK. Thank you for coming in. We're discussing WWE Survivor Series, which takes place tomorrow. We might be able to touch upon NXT TakeOver War Games, which takes place in a few hours' time. But we won't be doing any predictions for that, but maybe we'll have a little bit to talk about. And Rach is in the chat as well, keeping an eye on things. Thank you for that, Rach. So before we get going with sort of a general discussion on things, Jason, do you have any results from Crown Jewel for us?
Yeah, we got our prediction scores. Okay, just let me bring it up. So I'll do it in reverse order.
Okay.
I got 4. No, sorry, I got it wrong. Vicky got 4, and the rest of us got 5.
Yep. So a relatively small, no one scored massively high in that. That's the thing with Crown Jewel. I think it was a difficult one to predict because you had that bloody battle royal where, although did most people predict that right except me? I think I was the one who boobed on that. Everyone else did all right.
Yeah, I think we did.
I think we all boobed on the Tag Team World Cup because we all just assumed it was going to be a walk in the park for the Viking Raiders, didn't we? And it ended up being the OC who won. The Poptimist UK says, brilliant build to both shows. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I was going to say later, but I might as well say now. Survivor Series, it's a big 4 pay-per-view, but it's usually the one I look forward to the least because I think the elimination tag matches, I do enjoy them generally when they're not rushed too much, but there just doesn't seem to be much good build for them, so I never really get hyped for them. Oh, and Funko UK guys in as well, are you? So nice to see some familiar faces in.
Would you like
before
the
we get back to the rest? Sorry, Jace.
I was just going to say, would you like the overall standings?
Yes, I was just about to say that, mate. I was about to say before we get back on Survivor Series weekend, can we have the overall standings?
Okay.
Now, before Jason starts, we've only got one more pay-per-view left to predict this year, which will be TLC, which is sometime next month. I can't remember the date, but
that should be good.
Yeah, it'll be in a 4 weeks time-ish, something like that. So after that, in fact, it will be next month, we will be able to announce the official 19 predictions champion. So if you can give us the current leaderboard, Jason, we'll see who's in pole position. I think I know who it is.
Well, yeah. Okay, excuse me, just having a look a minute. It's a bit small for me to read. Okay. In fourth place is Vicky with 5.5, followed by me with 5.8. In second place is Jim Balls with 6, but it's getting closer because although Rachel's in the lead, she's only ahead by 0.3, 6.3.
Wow. So it's really close. I can't really work out whether it's possible for. It could be possible for Vicky to suddenly jump from fourth to first. I honestly don't know.
I don't know.
A clean sweep for Survivor Series and then maybe TLC as well would be in order. So Vicky, your predictions need to be absolutely spot on tonight and next month. If you want to claim that trophy, well, it's not a real trophy, but
I know.
you know what I mean. Oh, and we've got Justin in as well, Fireborn, aka Justin. Thank you for coming in, mate. Nice to see you. So lovely to see a lot of subscribers and familiar faces and good friends in the chat. Very nice of people to come in and say hello. So yeah, well done to Rach, who's still, at the time of us recording this, is still top of the leaderboard. So you've got Survivor Series and TLC to predict well, Rach, and if you can do well on these two, then I would say that the predictions championship will be yours at the end of the year. Right, so Survivor Series weekend. Yeah, I was saying a bit before. Survivor Series is a pay-per-view that I always try. It's rare that I would miss it for whatever reason, but it's not one that I get massively hyped for. Like, I always love the Royal Rumble, get really excited for it. Same with WrestleMania, although WrestleMania going so long the last few years, it's, you know, I kind of feel a bit, you know, I kind of dread it a little bit in a way, but I'm still looking forward to it. And SummerSlam, I think SummerSlam just seems like it seems at a nice time of year, and you know, it's an important pay-per-view, and I'm always pretty hyped for that. But I will say this Survivor Series looks to be potentially one of the best ones in a long time. And I think a lot of that's obviously got to do with the fact that NXT is involved this year.
Yeah,
NXT Games is tonight. We're not predicting any matches or anything from that show, although one of the matches I know does have a knock-on effect for a Survivor Series match, which Rach will tell us about later on. What have people thought of NXT? Because it's been on the USA Network and been at 2 hours and live every week now for nearly 2 months, is it? Or just about. And obviously there's more eyes on the product, and it's now been treated as more of being on an equal footing with Raw and SmackDown. So has NXT improved for any of you guys, or has it got worse, or is it the same? Rach, we'll start with you. Have you been enjoying NXT lately?
Yeah, I think it has improved. I think for first time in like this whole Wednesday Night Wars thing started, I think they won the predictions. The rating.
Yeah. I think it was pretty close, but yeah, it's. Yeah. I think with the this ratings war. I mean, obviously it's manufactured to an extent because anything like that is, but you know, I don't see why NXT and AEW Dynamite can't coexist. I mean, I'll watch them both. If I had to pick a favorite out of the two on a week by week basis, I would say NXT is probably slightly superior, but I enjoy watching both shows. So a lot of this tribalism that you see, and this kind of, you've got to be on one side or the other on when you go on social media and you see people, WWE sucks, and AEW shit, blah blah blah. It's like, well, like, you're a wrestling fan, like there's no law saying you can't enjoy both. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm doing. It's like, it's great. There's like 2 really strong weekly wrestling shows on now. I get to see them both. One of them for free on the ITV hub, a day after or 2 days after, you know, the broadcast, and the other one is included in my network subscription. Like, 24 hours or whatever it is after that's been on broadcast television. So, Vicky, what do you think to NXT and War Games in particular? Not tomorrow, tonight.
Well, I mean, I like NXT. They're young, they're fresh, they're like they have energy, they're uninjured, compared to a lot of the people on WWE who are injured and everything else, right? Or they're old or whatever. But I think I agree with Fireborn. They're both equally really good. And I think that War Games tomorrow could determine how things are going to turn out. Because, I mean, if somebody gets severely injured, someone's out. But they haven't announced the team for the women's, and the team for the men's. They haven't announced either of those yet. So I guess they're waiting until after the pay-per-view tomorrow for NXT to see whether they are going to be there or not and whatever. But I like NXT. I think Finn Balor going back was also a really good move for him.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about this before during the Crown Jewel show, didn't we? About Finn Balor. And I think it's probably the right thing for his career, because he was certainly feeling quite stagnant on main. I don't like calling it main roster anymore, but Raw / SmackDown.
yeah.
But I think too, Triple H says there's going to be a big surprise. So I don't know. He isn't. Yeah, he announced there's going to be a big surprise that's going to happen on Sunday as well. So I'm looking forward to see either somebody's going to turn on NXT or somebody's going to turn on Raw or SmackDown. One of the two.
Yeah. I don't think the last man for Tommaso Ciampa's Survivor Series team's been announced yet, has he?
No.
I mean, you'd assume it's going to be Gargano, but I mean that seems now so obvious. They might do a bit of a swerve and just have someone. You could have someone debuting, or like a defection. They could have like a really massive defection. Like suddenly, I don't know. It won't be Roman Reigns because I know he's captain of like one of the other teams, but someone quite big like who.
They've been hitting Kevin Owens.
Maybe.
Yes. Yeah, that's another name I've been hearing thrown around.
CM Punk shows
up. Every time a surprise is due, it's like let's just like mention CM Punk. It's easier.
I know, right?
Easy answer. So I'm just gonna have a look at the chat for a sec before I go to Jason. Poptimist says War Games could have a huge bearing on Survivor Series with knocks and injuries. Yeah, it's interesting that they're both so close together, and War Games, as in the match itself, as potentially could be quite physically damaging to the competitors. Poptimist says both are better than Raw and SmackDown. Presumably you mean NXT and Dynamite. And I would completely 100% agree with that. Inquisitive Moment says well, hello there. Well, hello there to you too. Thank you for joining us. You know that person.
Oh, I know Inquisitive Moment.
Actually, the name does ring a bell. Actually, I've
is that the
popped in before?
That's Kate.
Is that the young Irish lady?
Yeah.
With the little
a fellow Celt.
Yeah. Nice I remember Kate.
Yeah, Kate's awesome.
Poptimist says Priest has the potential to be a huge star. It was incredible as Punishment Martinez, in Ring of Honor. Yeah, that's probably the match I'm looking forward to the most. I know we're not predicting and talking too much about War Games matches, but I'm really looking forward to that triple threat between Dunn, Priest, and Killian Dane. We can get on to who we think's going to win later on when we do the NXT title match at Survivor Series prediction. Poptimist says Gargano, he doesn't think he's medically cleared. Fair enough. Jason, NXT, War Games, the whole Wednesday night wars. Have you got any thoughts about any of this?
Yeah, I think NXT going 2 hours is a good thing for the brand. They are certainly able to showcase a lot more people and still put on excellent matches. I think they've still got that element where because, well, you know, a lot of them are, I wouldn't say rookies, but they're new to WWE coming in. It's given them a chance to shine without being hindered by the veterans, as it were. Some of the other guys going over, I'm not sure. Yeah, Finn needed to do something, so I can understand him going over. Anybody else? I just hope it doesn't take, as I say, take away from the, you know, the less experienced guys, shall we say?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's to me it's also in that like we're getting to a bit more cross pollination between NXT as in North American and NXT UK. Like we've seen Imperium show up on normal NXT. I watched NXT UK a couple of days ago, and there was what's his name? I love his entrance theme. Don't like him as a you know, entertainer or a wrestler particularly, but he's got a great theme. What's his name? Oh, the Finest is his nickname. Everyone always says he looks a bit like John Morris. Yeah, I picture him right now. He's got really distinct, and I've forgotten his name, but he's got really great entrance music. But anyway, so yeah, we're seeing a lot of you know, I think a lot of people like him because he's a bit of a jobber. Him on. I had his name a minute for a split second, and it went again. Anyway, but yeah, so you know, anyone who's perhaps not getting as much TV time on the USA network with NXT, there's like NXT UK to not fall back on, but yeah, it's great. I think NXT going to 2 hours. I wasn't skeptical about it. I was maybe a little bit worried, just that I was worried it might turn into like some sort of Raw or SmackDown clone where there's too much sort of silly stuff and Vince McMahon style antics on it. But so far, it's been great, been very strong throughout. We talked a little bit about it last month, me, Vicky, and Rach, where there was rumours that they wanted to get out of Full Sail. Kona Reeves, that's him. That's the fella, Kona Reeves. Yeah. I don't rate him particularly, but I'm happy to see him because I just hear his great music. Obviously, his music's not as good as Bobby Roode's. Nobody's is in the history of professional wrestling, but there we are. Actually, he'd be a good defection. Anyway, never mind. We could go way off topic. Right, anyway, so yeah, NXT, great stuff. Can't wait for War Games. Well, I'm going to wait literally for War Games. I'm going to watch it, but I'm going to watch it first thing tomorrow morning and then stay up and watch Survivor Series live. Just before we get going, Poptimist says more likely to be a blow-up between existing rivalries. Yeah, that's one thing about Survivor Series that I get why it happens, where you've got like teams representing their brands and it's basically heels and baby faces coexisting. But for me, a true heel, really, would they care about like their brand doing well? Wouldn't they just, you know, for me, a proper heel, someone's like who's a real lone wolf who'll just hate everyone and he won't have any brand loyalty because he's that much of a bastard. He would sell out to the highest bidder, sort of thing. Yeah. So
you wouldn't have seen Raw, but actually, what's it? Becky won it. She's basically said, she said bollocks to brand supremacy.
Yeah.
So,
which is a weird way of selling her triple threat match, given that it's Raw versus SmackDown versus NXT.
I think basically she was just like, I just want to fight.
Yep, she doesn't care. She just wants to.
Yeah, she just wants to fight.
I think that's it certainly. Oh, I nearly missed Justin's comment above there. It might be wrong, but it seems there's been a lot of turnarounds and betrayals. Well, that's what we need in our professional wrestling, isn't it? If like there's no sort of swerve, everything will just stay the same and kind of get really boring really quick. All right, Survivor Series. We need to predict the matches or do as best we can, because I know there's a lot of sort of gaps in relation to team members and stuff, but we can have a good stab at it. Rach, I think there was a pre-show match announced either late last night or sometime today. I don't know if you've got that one, Rach.
I haven't.
Right, let me just see if I can quickly get it up. I saw it on Figure 4 online. Ah, yes. No, then. Oh, no. I apologise. It's not for Survivor Series. It's for Takeover War Games. So that's unusual, actually, because I don't think they've had a pre-show match for a Takeover before. I know they have a pre-show, but it's not usually got any matches on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, forget I said that. So yeah, we don't. There no doubt will be at least one, probably more than one pre-show match for Survivor Series, but we don't know. We don't know what they are. So let's just get on with doing it in whatever order you want to, Rach.
Well, the first match I've actually put down is the triple threat women's match between Becky, Bailey, and Shayna Baszler.
Okay, great. So it's non-title, as these ones tend to be, where there's two or three champions from different brands facing one another. It's triple threat. Raw Women's Champion is Becky Lynch. SmackDown Women's Champion is Bailey, and the NXT Women's Champion is the Queen of Spades, Shayna Baszler. We'll start with you, Rach. Who have you got for this one?
No, I haven't been watching Raw or SmackDown, so I don't know how. All I know is that NXT have been invading every so often.
Yeah.
And Raw and SmackDown have done a bit of NXT invading as well, particularly this week as well.
Do you know what? I think Shayna Baszler's going to do it. I don't know why. I just think she's going to do it.
Well, that sounds a decent call to me. I think with a lot of these Survivor Series matches, it might be a case of like, toss a coin.
Yeah.
Or in the case of triple, toss a couple of coins and then do a best out. You know what I mean? Rachel's picked Shayna Baszler. Fair enough. Night Owl, who have you got for Becky versus Bailey versus Shayna?
I'm actually going to agree with Rach on this one. I've seen Shayna wrestle, and I've gone back and actually watched a few matches that she's been in, and how just she seems very tough. She's like another Becky Lynch, but just she's very very much into wanting to fight right now. So I'm just going to agree with Rach. I'm going to go with Shayna Baszler.
Wow, 2 for Shayna. So it looks like NXT could be off to a flyer if Rach and Vicky are correct. Jace, are you going to make it 3 for Shayna, or have you got?
I'm tempted. I'm tempted. I really don't know. I mean, watching what's going on, I know Bailey is really, really fuming about what the attacks and everything, and with the way they've been doing her character, she could be the surprise.
Yeah, she could be.
It's difficult. I don't think it's going to be Becky, because I think Becky's well over enough as it is.
Yeah.
Bailey could do with a little bit. I know she's champ, but she needs a little bit more push.
Yeah.
No, I think I will stick with my initial thing. I'll go for Shayna as well.
Oh wow, we've got 3 for Shayna Baszler.
Yeah.
Poptimist says Bailey with a tainted win. Yeah, that's. I mean, the thing with triple threat matches is no disqualification. So, like what would be a tainted win in a one-on-one match? If it's like outside interference or some sort of chair shot or whatever, or something behind the referee's back. Theoretically, that stuff is by the referee, but it's not actually illegal. I don't think Bailey's going to win this. I think Bailey will. I think whoever wins is going to, Bailey's going to be the one taking the fall. To be honest, you know what? Let's make it a clean sweep. Even though I know she's got her War Games match, she's captain of her War Games team. I still think that Shayna Baszler's gonna, she could go over at War Games, but I think she will certainly go over at Survivor Series, and I think this will just be at least one tick in the NXT victory column. So I'm going to say Shayna Baszler for the win, and all four of us are in agreement straight away. That's great. Yeah. Right. Don't forget, there's a general election coming up. Let's all agree to vote the same way. No, Jason, not the monster raving loonies. We're going to have to discuss.
They're not actually know what they're doing.
Vote. I thought you were standing for them again, mate. or didn't they kick you out? They said you were just a bit too crazy for them.
Probably.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, after that lovely aside, Rach, what's the next match, please?
Well, the next one I've got written down is the triple threat tag match between the Viking Raiders, New Day, and the Undisputed Era.
Okay. Another triple threat match. There's obviously going to be a lot of those on tomorrow night. It is Raw Tag Team Champions, Viking Raiders versus SmackDown Tag Team Champions. That's Kofi Kingston and Big E. And NXT Tag Team Champions, Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly. Rachel, what have you got for us?
No, I don't know much about the NXT Tag Team Champion.
Fish and O'Reilly? They've been in NXT for God.
Yeah,
they're getting on for 3 years nearly. I mean, I'm surprised about that, Rach, because I mean, I think they're the first 3-time NXT Tag Team Champions as well. Those, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, they've been, when the tag team scene in NXT. I mean, they, some sort of combination of the Undisputed Era has always been there or thereabouts, really.
Sorry, did I miss something?
No, I'm waiting for Rach to carry on with a prediction.
I was like,
I'm gonna say Team Raw for this.
Viking Raiders, right? Okay, Rach has predicted the Viking Raiders, right? Okay, yeah. I mean, there's not an awful lot to say about these matches. None of them are sort of stemming from any sort of personal feuds or long built on-screen kind of programs. It's like all brand versus brand in this case. Just before I go to Vicky, I'll just have a look at the chat. Poptimist, said about him no, I didn't say about Poptimist predicting Bailey. So yeah, Poptimist has predicted Bailey. Fireborn is agreeing with him and also picking Bailey. The Undisputed Era is such a fluid tag team. Yeah, great tag team. Vicky, this one, Viking Raiders, New Day, and Undisputed Era.
I like the Viking Raiders a lot. I really do. But I think I'm going to go with New Day. Just, I don't know. Just, I can't really say why. I'm going to go with them. I like them too.
Excuse me, that's fair enough. Oh, Mr. Jam's here. Hi, James. How are you, mate? Thank you for coming in. Great to see you.
Hello, mate.
Yep, see you, please, Jason. The Brighton Jason's Day, which is always lovely to see that smile on his little face. There it is. There it is. Look, everyone, take your screenshots. And is Jason going to be smiling by predicting the correct result for the triple threat tag team match? It is non-title, of course, as a lot of these matches are.
I think this card's actually quite difficult to choose.
It is, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah, I like cards that are difficult to choose because it's You know, that you feel like it's going to be more unpredictable heading in. Like, if a card was too easy to predict and you find you got most right, you wouldn't enjoy watching it. Ultimately, it'd be too.
That's true.
Yeah, but yeah, carry on. Mate.
I want to say Undisputed Era, but I'm looking at the overall picture, and they obviously they can't. Well, I suppose they can, but you're not going to imagine that NXT are going to win every match.
Right.
So, I don't think it's going to be New Day for the simple reason is they're multi-time champions. They don't need anything more to elevate them or do anything. You know, they're plenty big enough as they are. Yeah. Also, you've got to bear in mind that they haven't. Is it Big E that's injured?
Xavier Woods.
Xavier Woods. So they haven't got one part of their team with them. Okay, not directly involved in the match, but you know what happens in wrestling, shenanigans. I think I'm gonna go with Rach and say the Viking Raiders. I think they're sort of a push upwards. So yeah.
Right, so Jason is predicting a Raw win specifically for Eric and Ivar. Yeah, don't know, difficult one to pick this for me. I mean, I think that NXT might win the night, as it were, but it's like they're not gonna do it by a clean sweep, or you wouldn't have thought so. I mean, it'd be crazy if they did. But you know, if they got to win the night, as it were, like get more wins in the bag than Raw and SmackDown. I mean, so they've got to win more than just the one that predicted. So, a couple of people in the chat are predicting. Well, at least one person in the chat. No, a couple of people.
People,
and James both think Undisputed Era is going to win. So, God, it's a hard one. This really. Blow it. Let's be reckless. Yeah, even though really I should be playing a bit more tactically, given that we're near the end of the season. I'm gonna say Undisputed Era. I'm gonna be the voice of reckless dissension on the panel and say Carla, Riley, and Bobby Fish.
I think you're probably right, but
well, I'm afraid your prediction has been locked in.
I know.
But well, yeah, I would like to see them win. I think with the Viking, the kind of magic's gone a little bit. They had a good match against Forgotten Sons this week with NXT. Although for me personally, I think it went a little bit long, that match. I don't like Forgotten Sons. I find them kind of just tedious and pointless, really. And I don't. They looked a bit too competitive. I think they should have been squashed really by the Vikings myself, but that's probably more to do with the fact that there's something about the Forgotten Sons that just annoys me. I just don't. I don't like seeing them like week in, week out. It's like, yeah, I'd like to forget you, but you bloody come back every week. So they're one of the few things about NXT that I don't particularly like. But I get it. It's like some sort of biker Sons of Anarchy type thing, isn't it? But it's just not for me, really. That it's like I don't care, mate. That's all it is. Anyway, so yeah, there we are. Rach, next Survivor Series.
I don't know if it's going to be coming up next. I put the 5-on-5 women's match.
That's fine. Yeah, I mean, we don't know what order it'll be. Yeah, so 5-on-5-on-5. Now then, oh God, how many of the participants do we know? Do we know all of the Raw and SmackDown teams? But
I did see them earlier.
So if we can't list them all, it doesn't matter. We'll just have to be very vague and just say, Team Raw, Team SmackDown, or Team NXT.
They did announce it last night on SmackDown. They said that they had the Raw women's and the SmackDown women's picked out, but NXT hasn't announced theirs yet.
This is the women's one.
Yeah, both men and women.
Yeah, the 5-on-5 on 5.
Yep.
Which one are we voting on first?
No, this.
If there's two.
Right. Team Raw for the women's are Charlotte Flair, Asuka, Kairi Sane, Sarah Logan, and Natalya. Team SmackDown is Sasha Banks, Carmella, Dana Brooks, Lacey Evans, and Nikki Cross. And the only one that's been announced for Team NXT is Rhea Ripley.
Oh, so it'll be great. I'm glad to see Rhea Ripley on Survivor Series. I mean, I know she's in the War Games match, but I like the fact she'll be captaining NXT at Survivor Series as well. All right, well, yeah. I mean, you know, how much can we talk about this? Really, we need to make predictions though. So, Rach, what's yours?
Well, how I'm looking at it, apart from Lacey Evans, Dana Brooke, and Nikki Cross, and Natalya, and Sarah Logan, the others have all been in NXT at one point.
Yeah.
I see what Rhea Ripley can do. I'm going to go Team NXT.
Oh, wow. Okay. Team NXT says Rach Kappa. Night Owl. A 5-on-5 on 5.
I'm going to have to go with Team SmackDown. I just, I look at Nikki Cross and I see how crazy she is and stuff like that. I think I really like their odds. I mean, as much as they say they're weak because of Sasha Banks and everything else, I'm going to go with them.
Yeah. I mean, Sasha's, I would say she's arguably the strongest member of that team, but that's fine. Yep. Okay. Not suitable for Mum. What's your thoughts on this one?
Okay. Well, I'm going to disagree about SmackDown. They've got some good people in there, but Carmella, she's all right. She's grown on me a bit. But Dana Brooke, really? I don't know. She's not exactly the most well-known or well-respected in the ring by any means. I mean, what was the last match she had? Exactly.
Pass.
Exactly. Right. So, I don't think it's going to be SmackDown. It's really going to be between NXT and Raw. We don't know who's in NXT at all, although Poptimist has said.
Well, it'll be Rhea Ripley, definitely, and then take your pick out of whoever's kind of in good shape.
Yeah. Well, he said Knox, Storm, Yin. All right, there's all different ones. Blair. Yeah. So yeah, they've got a good roster, whoever they pick. Who is in the Raw team again?
It'll be
Asuka, Kairi, Sarah, and Natalya.
I'm going to go with Team Raw. I think that's a good lineup. They got some good, they're all. I think all of those are pretty darn good wrestlers. When they're allowed to do what they do.
Yeah.
So I mean, I know people could say that the Kabuki Warriors are being sort of kind of a bit stifled and all the rest of it, but yeah. I think I'm going to go for Team Raw.
Okay, so we've got one for each again, haven't we? Then?
Yep.
I'll just have a look at the comments. Mr. Jam wants Io Shirai face off with the Kabuki Warriors. Yeah. 3 great competitors. I still think it's daft having Asuka and Kairi Sane as heels now. It just doesn't. Asuka, possibly, but Kairi Sane. I mean, she could have been like such a really sort of like good baby face, but it's
she's too sweet.
I'm not buying her sort of. Yeah, I'm not buying her being kind of underhand and more aggressive.
I'm having enough time with Bailey with that.
Yeah. I think Bailey's getting there. But yeah, I'm going to make a prediction. So I'm obviously going to be siding with either Rach, Vicky, or Jason on here. And I was trying to think about what my prediction would be for this while, you 3 were sort of making yours. And before Jason had got to his, I'd pretty much settled on Team Raw, just going by the fact that I know all 5 people who are going to be in, whereas NXT, I'm uncomfortable picking a team where we don't know exactly who's going to be on it. But I also agree with Jace that it looks a strong team. I mean, you've got Charlotte, enough said, really. She's probably the most pushed female in WWE history, I would say, arguably. We've got the tag team champions as well, the Kabuki Warriors. Yeah, I've got problems with them, how they're being, how their characters are now, but still. So yeah, I am going to say Team Raw for this one. Wow, God, all these people involved in Survivor Series, and so there's a lot of wrestlers who are going to be on, a lot of wrestlers on tomorrow's show. I think it's great, really, that a lot of these people are going to get their first, pay-per-view exposure, really, and a big 4 event as well. Technically, historically, one of the biggest in the calendar year for wrestling as well. All right, what's our next match, Rach?
The next one I wrote down is the 5-on-5 men's match.
Right. Yep. How many of those do we know?
We've got Seth, Kevin, Ricochet, Drew, Randy for the Team Raw.
Yep.
Roman, Ali, Braun, King Corbin, Shorty G for Team SmackDown, and there's to be announced for the men.
Yeah, so there's not been any announcements for the NXT team. There again, I think it's going to be like some of the people who are in the men's War Games match who haven't been kind of knocked about and injured too much, really. So yeah, another 5-on-5. It's going to be interesting to see. I think maybe there's perhaps a few too many triple threat matches. Really, I would have. I think we could have maybe that next year they might sort of be able to streamline this kind of thing a bit better if they're still doing the sort of 3-way brand supremacy kind of deal. Yeah. But Rach, what have you got for the men's Survivor Series elimination match?
Well, as we don't know all of Team NXT, I'm gonna go say Team SmackDown, but I think Corbin's gonna screw him.
Yeah.
I think he's gonna screw him and go deflect to.
I mean, he's supposed to be feuding with Roman Reigns, and they're going to have some sort of match at TLC, which, to be honest, thrills me about as much as a dust sandwich, really. To be honest, but anything involving Billy Corbin, it's like, why is he still getting pushed so well? I mean, it's like, oh God.
Yeah,
it's just not. He's not main event caliber. Like, stop trying to fit a square peg into a round hole. Just it's like he's a mid carder. Like he could be quite an acceptable comedy style wrestler, really, if they just totally changed him. But I'm not buying him as like this guy on that sort of Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins kind of level, not in the slightest, and I don't think I ever will. Anyway, sorry, I had to rant about Corbin there. There we go. Shane McMahon's not around anymore, so I can't really rant about him now, can I? So Corbin's getting all the flack from me now. So Rach Kappa has predicted Team SmackDown. Vicky, what do you think?
With the roster they have to choose from with the men for NXT and stuff like that, I think it's pretty much the same thing you said about the women. They have a tremendous roster to choose from. And if you'd watched NXT at all this week, you'll notice that they almost announced who they were going to be just by the people who are fighting and standing together in the ring and this, you know. So I'm actually going to go with Team NXT on this one.
Oh, wow, okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. In fact, looking at the comments, I think Mr. Jam is agreeing with you there because he reckons NXT will win with Owens turning on Raw and costing them. Yeah, that's I could totally see that. Poptimus was lucky enough to be backstage at NXT UK in Coventry earlier this year. Oh wow. Yeah, I'd love to go. I would have loved to have gone to the next UK takeover in Blackpool actually, but it's just not viable for me at the moment to be sort of making those sort of trips. So one for SmackDown, one for NXT. Jason, who have you got for the men's Survivor Series elimination match?
Okay. Well, I'll get into that in a minute. I think it's pretty obvious who's gonna win that. But looking at the teams overall, yeah, there's some strong teams there. Okay, you got Corbin, but whatever, right? I'm hoping one of the people they got in NXT is Pete Dunne. He would be a great addition for the team, right? Maybe Walter, as some people have been saying, right? Although how they get on between them, we don't know. I think because of the way this, we don't know who's on NXT. We've got no idea, right? Until I know Vicky said they're sort of semi-announced, in a manner of speaking. I think because of the way they've orchestrated this pay-per-view, the NXT is going to win. I think this is they're trying to elevate NXT. So what's the logic? I'm talking from a logical standpoint, from a marketing standpoint, right? Is I don't see how they can't have them win. Just seems logical to me. But then logic doesn't always work in WWE.
No. We've got two for NXT and one for Team SmackDown. As before I do my prediction, Poptimus thinks Keith Lee is a certainty. Yeah, he would be a very possible or probable member for that team, I reckon. And he also completely bottled saying hello to Heartbreak Kid Shawn Michaels at Coventry. It would have been fine. He would have probably wanted to pray with you, maybe. Something like that. Hallelujah. Mr. Jam thinks Dunn will win. Oh, well, yeah, we'll get to that soon, I think. Right. I do agree with you again, Jace. I think, as it's, they try to get NXT over as a strong, equal-footed brand that, I do think NXT are going to win the night. I don't think they're going to have a clean sweep. If I had, then I would be predicted NXT for the previous match, and I didn't. I picked Team Raw for the women's match, and I'm not going to pick them for this one. I think, even though, despite what I've said about Baron Corbin and Roman Reigns and whatever, I don't know. They need to give SmackDown a win of some sort on tomorrow night. Otherwise, it's like all this kind of hype of SmackDown being on Fox and it now being supposedly the A brand, which is debatable, really. If SmackDown end up with the wooden spoon tomorrow, then it's, what? with the ratings. It's like, oh, no one, I'm not tuning in to SmackDown next Friday. You know, they're all a bunch of losers. They couldn't win one match at Survivor. Well,
Exactly.
you know, I know it's a bit of a kayfabe kind of marky way of looking at it, but you know, this.
Yeah, no, you got a point.
You have to factor in. So I'm actually gonna. I agree with Rach regarding the winners of this. I just think they've got a fairly strong team. Although it wouldn't surprise me if NXT won this. It wouldn't even surprise me if Raw won this. And I agree that there could be some sort of turn. I think if there's going to be like a defection or something, then this is probably the match it will happen in. But I'm just going to go with my gut and say Team SmackDown for the men's match.
Cool.
So sorry, Raw, no one's picking you for this one.
Yep.
What have we got next, Rach?
Well, the next one I put is the No Holds Barred WWE Championship between Brock Lesnar and Rey Mysterio.
Right. Okay. WWE Championship, Lesnar, Mysterio. This one's really been brewing since before Crown Jewel, really. On the surface of it, this one looks very easy and quick to predict, but let's wait and see. Rach, who have you got for Lesnar versus Mysterio?
I don't think they're going to put the belt on Rey. I don't. He's a great wrestler, Rey. He's a great wrestler, but I just don't think he can hang doing the stuff that he's used to do when he was converted to the WWE. I don't think he could do that sort of stuff anymore. So I'm gonna have to say Brock Lesnar.
Yeah, Brock Lesnar says Rach, the Night Owl, Lesnar, Rey Mysterio. Who do you fancy in this one?
I'm gonna say Rey Mysterio is my pick.
Oh, okay.
Because he's been in the David versus Goliath matches before, and stuff like that, and he's come out on top. He's won a Royal Rumble, and you know, he knows tricks of how to get out of certain moves. Now, I'm not saying that Brock is not going to give him the beating of his life, but I think something could happen, like Cain Velasquez could come out. And they've even said this last night on SmackDown. They said that Cain Velasquez could come out. Rey's son could come out. Somebody could come out. You know, like maybe Rey dug up another demon from Brock's past or something like that. You never know, right? So, but yeah, I'm gonna have to go with Rey.
Wow. Okay. Well. Okay, I was just assuming this might be a bit of a clean sweep for Brock, but no. Rach thinks Rey Mysterio is going to win his second WWE Championship, but I know he's won a couple of World Heavyweight titles as well in WWE. So yeah, actually, just going off topic slightly. Anyone think that it was back in 2011, weren't it? And Rey Mysterio had won the vacant WWE Championship. There's been like a mini tournament after CM Punk walked out.
Yeah.
And he lost it to John Cena just like, what was it, like an hour later or something like that?
Something like that.
I mean, like, you know, just like, why, when they had no intention of booking Cena as a heel, why did they, like, make him act like such a prick a lot of the time? Like, oh, that's a nice new one. Give me a match for it. And then, like, you have Rey like a jabroni. Yeah, all right, then.
Yeah.
I'm going to just want, like, not like, oh, can you wait till next week, mate? You know, like, it's like, bloody hell, it's like Vince McMahon's head was so far up Cena's rectum back then.
Yep.
To the detriment of people like Rey Mysterio and you know, numerous other people who, you know, other people really wanted to see, you know, get a good run with the belt. I mean, I know it was all kind of, you know, it was all irrelevant ultimately because CM Punk came back to the company with his belt, and then they had that like unification match of sorts at SummerSlam, didn't they? Which then there was a cash in at the end of that. I mean, I wasn't watching a lot of the pay-per-views at that point, but I was still following the results and stuff. The Summer of Punk, I believe that was.
Yep.
And have that weird stuff with Kevin Nash and anyway, yeah. So where was I? Oh yeah, Survivor Series. Yeah, that'll be nice, won't it? Okay. Yeah. Jason's been waiting patiently because he looks like he's got a lot to say about Brock Lesnar and Rey Mysterio. So let us now commence with the announcement of the proclamation, beginning from Jason Herbert Crow regarding this World Wrestling Entertainment Heavyweight Championship of the World match between the Beast, Brock. Yeah, carry on, Jason.
I'm flabbergasted. What a lovely introduction. Thank you very much. How about? I'll have to remember that. Right. Okay. All logic dictates Brock would squash the crap out of Rey. But am I correct in thinking this is a no holds barred match?
Yeah,
Something like that. Right? Now, we've seen Rey get pretty nasty with the old lead pipe. Haven't we? For one thing. Right? And going on to other things that have been said about him doing the David Goliath. Remember WCW versus Kevin Nash?
Yeah. I vividly remember because I used to get Nitro taped for me by my best friend, and I remember that was one of the first Nitros he ever taped for me. That one, it was from February '99 or something like that. And apparently, the reason that match was booked with that result was Kevin Nash. He was a few months into his role as head booker, and basically morale was completely in the toilet backstage because Kevin Nash was obviously just like, it's like, jobs for the boys kind of, I'm going to get myself over as this. I've got to please Hollywood, Hogan, and everyone else who's like Mexican or short or anything can just suck my what. And then apparently he booked himself to have a fluke defeat to Rey Mysterio on Nitro because there was such uproar that Rey had lost his mask the previous week or whatever it was at Super Bowl. And this was Kevin Nash's way of supposedly appeasing all the boys and all the cruiserweights and Mexicans and shorter guys like Benoit and stuff. So yeah, that's why that happened. Otherwise, I don't think we'd ever be talking about that because under normal circumstances, Kevin Nash would not have jobbed out to Rey Mysterio like that. But he did it to avoid a mutiny, basically. Yeah. But yeah, sorry, I'm a bit of a WCW nerd, so I had to go into a bit more detail over that. So I'm glad you brought it up, actually, Jace. But yeah, carry on, mate. Yeah.
Anyway, they've shown that they will let him do that. Right, whether whatever he's in. He was in ECW for a while, wasn't he? So he knows a bit about the old hardcore, as it were, which is kind of what you're going to get here, I think, to an extent. I also agree with Vicky with the run-ins. Nobody's going to want to help Brock apart from Heyman. Right, and I think we're going to get a surprise attack. Everyone's saying, "Oh yeah, Dominic, Kane, all the rest of it." I think someone from one of the rosters, right, not outside, but someone who's had a previous beef with Brock, will go after him. Not sure who. But this will set up for whatever comes next for Brock because I've heard he's supposed to be going away for a while.
Right.
So, if that's the case, then you wouldn't normally assume it would happen, but because of the circumstances of the match, right, and the other various contributing factors, I think Rey is going to win.
Okay.
If not, Brock is going to get a hell of a beat down regardless.
Yep.
So, yeah.
So, wow, we've got 2 for Rey Mysterio to become the new champion or to win. Well, yeah, I mean, it can't be a DQ or a count-out win, can it? Because it's no holds barred. So we're looking at potentially a new champion. Let me just check the chat. James says, "Oh, there's a chance that Punk will make an appearance." Been in Chicago and all. Yeah, we've got every time something happens in Chicago, like there has to be some sort of CM Punk. I mean, I know he's not technically employed by WWE, but yeah, I think we're a lot closer to that happening now than we were, just a couple of months ago. Justin says, I might be biased about Brock and really like Mysterio. Maybe they'll play around and make it like Ray's going to win, but get turned around like always and Brock wins. Yeah, God, I mean, this, when Rach first said what this, this is the next match, it's, the no holds barred, blah, blah, blah. I was like, yeah, everyone's going to pick Brock for this. But Vicky and Jason have made some really interesting points here. And like, I was certain in my mind at the start, and now I'm kind of like really torn. So you've really
Sorry, mate.
So yeah, what I thought would be an easy prediction on a night where there's a lot of difficult predictions, and which is good as a fan. Like I said before, I love unpredictability, and we have proper surprises and everything, and things aren't always clear cut. Optimus says Sheamus will be doing something. I think he is due back, actually. I think he is close to full. Well, he will be at full fitness if he comes back tomorrow.
They said he was going to retire.
Yeah.
You never know.
I mean, to me, Sheamus doesn't seem that old, but I suppose he's into his 40s now.
Injuries, mate. Injuries rather than age.
Yeah, I suppose, yeah, it could be. Then again, Rey Mysterio's had his fair share of knocks, hasn't he? And,
was it about his 4th knee surgery?
Oh God, can you imagine it? But oh God, I've got to make a prediction. I've got it. Even though it's really compelling evidence from Night Owl and Not Suitable for Mum, I've really got to stick with my original thought, and I'm expecting shenanigans, and it could end up being that those would cost Brock the title and be a really big upset win for Rey Mysterio. I suppose Brock Lesnar, he's not too proud to do the job to a guy who's like half his size, because Lesnar's still going to be getting paid a lovely, massive amount of money no matter what he does. So he's probably, I don't give a shit if I win or lose. I'm getting paid X amount. But I'm going to stick with Brock Lesnar. I was going to say Brock Lesnar at the start. I was really certain. So yeah, that's Vicky and Jason for Ray, and me and Rach for Brockles. All right.
I'll tell you
Rachel.
what.
Oh, go on, Jason.
I'll tell you what. If Ray does win, and I think he's been building up for his last run, basically. I think he's going to retire soon. But if he wins, can you imagine the noise from the fans if he wins?
I think he'll be a big pop. Yeah.
Yeah, but there's going to be a hell of a pop.
Whether I can't see him as a long running champion. I mean, having Rey Mysterio go into TLC as the champion would be kind of cool, because I think he could do some interesting things in a ladder match with someone. Whether that be with Brock or not, because you think he might be going away, and TLC Brock Lesnar is not one he's tended to show up at particularly.
That's a very good point.
So that's another sort of reason for sort of being swayed towards Ray. But no, I've picked Brock Lesnar for this. But I can totally see where you're coming from, and really interesting and compelling arguments. Could we see some Raw and SmackDown interference at War Games? Well, yeah. I mean, we're on about all NXT being on Survivor Series. We've seen Raw and SmackDown invasions on NXT television, so why not at War Games tonight as well? The Mr. Jam says, I don't think Raw and SmackDown will get involved in War Games, or possibly a car park brawl. Yeah, maybe they'll send out some of the lower card guys in, like your Kurt Hawkins and your R-Truths and whatever. There might be some sort of 24/7 shenanigans.
Yeah,
possibly.
one of the NXT guys wins.
Yeah,
I
could see
chat
something like
total.
that. Yeah. Right. Okay, Rach, what's our next match, please?
Well, the next one I've written down is AJ Styles versus Shinsuke versus Roderick Strong.
Yep, another triple threat match. We've got the kind of mid-card title holders for each three brands. So we've got the United States champion AJ Styles for Raw, Intercontinental champion Shinsuke Nakamura for SmackDown, and the North American champion Roddy Strong on NXT. Have you seen the new Intercontinental title belt, by the way, everyone?
I saw it this morning.
What do you reckon to it?
I like it.
Not seen it.
I actually like it. I think it looks a bit better than the current.
Yeah. Look it up later on, Jace. It's.
Well,
I think it'll grow on me.
Intercontinental.
I think.
Why have they changed it?
Well, did they just change the design every so often, don't they? So
yeah, I suppose.
It's like I can't exactly why. It's just some Vince or whoever thought, it's time for a change. If anything, I think they probably ought to change the US title design a bit now, because that belt feels really kind of old now. And I like the US title belt.
I do, yeah.
But it feels like that design, apart from like the brief period where Cena had it and it was the spinner back in 2004 or whatever it was. It feels like we've seen that design or a very close approximation of it for a long time. But this Intercontinental title belt looks really different to the one that had been doing the rounds for the last few years, and I always like that one. I mean, in fact, if I didn't think I might cause some ructions with the stream, I'd possibly try and find it and then show it on screen now. But I won't. Like people, if Rach is gonna.
There you go, Jason.
Can't see in a lot of detail, but yeah, that's right, doesn't it?
I think when you see it close up, I think it's when I first saw it, it's like to me it looked a bit like an NXT title, and I thought, but I think it's the sort of belt that's going to grow on me. I think. Pop Tart's in. Hello, Lee Tarty. Welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Hey.
So we've got to see Shinsuke wearing his brand new IC Championship belt tomorrow. So that'll be nice. But we have got to predict the winner for this one. Should be a decent match. 3 great wrestlers involved. Rach, who have you got for this one?
Do we expect the rest of the OC to be out there?
You'd have thought so, wouldn't you? With it being triple threat, and I know the referee, they might still do that. I always find that weird. Sorry, this is going slightly off topic. I always find that weird. When like you see a referee, because they did it on NXT, where the referee threw, in inverted commas, Jackson Riker out the arena. But it's like, to me, it always makes that the heel on the outside, be it a manager or a stablemate or whatever, always makes them look like a pussy to me, because it's like you're letting this referee, like, he's not even touching you, he's just telling you to go and you're going. Like a proper heel, they'd be like, fuck you, I'm staying. Like you're gonna have to physically push me out the door, mate.
Yeah.
It's to me, I don't like this kind of referees just saying, "Oh, go." Oh, okay, then I'll be off.
Jimmy Abbott did on Dynamite.
Oh, you pointed at the rampway. Oh, I'm so scared.
Yeah, exactly. I don't like that. It's a bit of a bugbear of mine, and it's been, I don't know. It never seemed to happen. Like, I know Attitude Era, if Earl Hebner wanted someone gone, he would actually properly get in their face, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
Well,
I know as a referee, that was a bit of his gimmick, like, you shove me and I'll shove you back sort of thing. But I don't know, I think we need to see more of that sort of thing now, rather than a referee saying, right, you to the back, and then like the heels going, all right then, even though no one's physically forcing him. Anyway, yeah. So yeah, but I could see something like that with the OC, Rach, where you know, they start getting involved too much, and then we're going to have that referee, the guy who's always got the really orange face or whatever, or you know the guy, him who's like addicted to creosote, I think. You know, he could leave, please. So yeah, anyway, so I would expect if they're not sort of busy elsewhere, that the OC would be accompanying Styles, and I would say Sami Zayn would be accompanying Shinsuke as well.
The other two members of Undisputed Era.
Well, with them being in a tag match, you never know. They could show up still, depending on what happened with, you know, with their and if they might not have, depending on the order of the card as well. So yeah, there's potential for lots of shenanigans. Yeah.
I'm gonna say Roderick Strong because I've seen what he could do in the ring.
He's a good wrestler.
I think he can do it.
Fair enough. I mean, yeah, I think it's going to be a good night for NXT, certainly. And, you know, like if that's going to happen, they've got to win at least a couple, if not, you know, the majority. So, yeah, fair point. Pop Tarts just popping in show support early's tomorrow. All right, thank you, Tarty. Quite interested by Survivor Series with the different brands. When holding my breath, I think, yeah, it'd be a good time to get your month's network subscription on free for free, Tarty. Actually, if you're still here. As War Games tonight will be a great show, and Survivor Series I think is going to be really exciting as well. Poptimist says whatever happens, Undisputed Era should look strong better than that. Yeah, I totally agree. I would book them as strong as possible, I think, throughout. Okay, Vicky, who have you got for this triple threat match?
Well, I mean, I've looked at all three guys. We love Shinsuke. Yeah, he's turned heel and everything else, but he's a tremendous Japanese wrestler. I like Roderick, but I really think because AJ seems to be the new butt that Vince has got his head up, I think it's going to be AJ Styles.
Okay. AJ Styles says the Night Owl. Jason, what do you reckon?
Ooh, okay. Well, I don't think it's going to be Shin, and the reason why is because I don't think he's very over at the moment, even though he's a championship holder.
Yeah.
Right. This whole thing with Sami Zayn, I'm sorry, but it's crap.
Yeah.
It's a complete waste of Sammy's talents, for one thing. Right? And it's not doing anything to get Shin over. You know, whether he's booed or cheered or whatever, it's just not. I don't think it's doing anything for him.
Can I just say, Jason, to you, I was going to agree with you there. I have a feeling maybe Sammy's going to turn on Shinsuke or something and go back to NXT.
It's possible. Yeah. They need to do something with Sammy, definitely, because he's a damn good wrestler anyway. But that's besides the point. Anyway, I don't think it's going to be Shin. Just because of the way that he's been utilised recently. Just don't think it's going to happen. AJ and Roderick. That's a tough call. Sorry, excuse me looking down. I'm just looking at the bit of paper where I'm writing all the predictions down. Crikey, who do you pick? I'm a massive AJ Styles fan. Always have been, ever since I first saw him. You've got to. I'm going to say what James is saying about Undisputed Era. They're going to be holding their heads up high, at least to a certain extent. Is Adam Cole in a match?
Yeah.
Yes, and we'll get to that soon, I think.
Yeah. So
that's the match I'm most looking forward to. But
if the tag team isn't going to win, then they've got to have at least one winning, and you've got to believe, you know, that Adam Cole stands a bloody good chance regardless. And I say, get back to that. So I'm going to go with Roddy. I'm going to go with Roderick.
Okay,
I think he's going to do it.
2 for Roddy and 1 for AJ Styles. Okay, I'm looking forward to this match because it's 3 wrestlers. I'm a big fan of Styles, big fan of Shinsuke. Roderick Strong, I don't think he's the greatest promo in the world, but I enjoy his matches, certainly. I think what he lacks in kind of, ultimate charisma, he certainly compensates for with actually being a very good technical wrestler, really. So yeah, I'm very excited for this match. I think it should be very good. I don't think there's going to be too many sort of turning or defecting kind of shenanigans for this. I think there'll be some sort of outside interference, it being triple threat, potentially the OC and Sami Zayn and maybe the Undisputed Era and others as well. It's a difficult one to predict, really. I think you make a good point for Roderick Strong winning. Vicky, I wouldn't ultimately agree that AJ Styles is kind of like Vince McMahon's kind of new Cena. I still think for Vince McMahon, although AJ has received a much better push in WWE than I ever expected him to, and that's great. I'm really happy. I think for Vince, I think AJ Styles is still too much of an indie guy or a Japan guy for Vince to sort of, totally make the man sort of thing. We know his man now is probably Seth Rollins. I think he's finally accepted Roman Reigns as that never quite out well. I expect Roman Reigns is still going to be at the top of the card or near the top. And I think, everything that's happened with Reigns in his personal life and maybe the move to SmackDown, I think that's ultimately going to help him. But going back to this match, God. It could be, toss a coin again. It's like, it could be any one of them. Just to be different, because I've really, I'd be happy for any of them to win this one because there's no titles on the line. Simply because he's got a new belt, and I always think he should be booked better than what he is. And just because it's another win for SmackDown, and I think SmackDown will probably need at least a couple of victories to look strong going forward. I'm going to say Shinsuke Nakamura for this. Although I'm almost drawing a name out of a hat here because I could certainly see AJ Styles winning with OC interference, and I could even see Strong maybe pulling a little bit of an upset because obviously he's like the lesser known quantity in this. Yes, Jason, it looks like you want to say something.
All I was going to say was, we said about who's up Vince's butt. I reckon that's why Corbin is where he is.
Well, Vince obviously likes something about Baron Corbin. I mean, what it is, I don't know. Perhaps he's seen him in the shower and he likes his penis. What a lovely package. Yeah, I'm going to push him. So this suddenly got a bit X-rated, didn't it? Let's talk about Baron Corbin's genitals.
It's got to be better than
Nathan's turning away.
Between Bobby Lashley and Lana.
No, it's not that you're talking about packages. It's because you're talking about Baron Corbin.
Well, I'm trying to think of something good about Baron Corbin.
His intro music.
I can't.
I liked him when he started.
Well, his music's all right when it's not like mixed in with that daft, like Regal kind of sounding stuff. Like the sort of King of the Ring remix. I tell you, whose ring music really awful is. And as much as I love them both, the Kabuki Warriors, it's like just give them a brand new theme, this sort of really half-assed mashup between Asuka's theme and Sane's theme. It sounds like shite. It sounds fucking dreadful. Pardon my French. Mr. Jam, Jimmy writing his own fanfics. Oh yeah. You found out my secret hobby. Poptimus says Gallus' entrance music is phenomenal. I don't think we've really seen anything of Gallus during this whole sort of build-up to Survivor Series. I know we've seen Imperium, it was just joined them.
Was it that
Gallus, Ilya Dragunov. I'm not sure he's like an official member of Gallus. I think he's just kind of like sided with them because he didn't want to officially join Imperium. And then, I mean, I think Gallus have kind of turned babyface by default, really. Now that they're feuding with Imperium, I mean, you know, the card for Takeover Blackpool looks really good. By the way, I can't wait for the last UK takeover in Cardiff. That was a great show. I thought that was a superb event, and it looks like this one in Blackpool in January is going to be great. So perhaps
I'd love to go and see NXT UK live.
I would have loved to. I wanted to see the last year's in Blackpool, and I wouldn't mind going to this one. I think it's sold out within 2 hours. I think so, but NXT UK takeover. Gallus are very prominent in that because I think it's Joe Coffey who's got the UK title match, and then the other members of Gallus are the tag champions now, aren't they? Wolfgang and Mark Coffey. They've got a four-way ladder match for the title. I mean, that's going to be that's going to be insane. I can't wait for that.
Yeah,
but But there we are. So, I predicted Shinsuke Nakamura, and then Night Owl's gone with AJ, and Rach and NSFM have gone with Roddy Strong. So, Rach, what's the next Survivor Series match, please?
I was just going to ask how many we've got left.
Will there be 2? Yeah, I thought there was 2.
Yeah. So I'm just making sure I can fit them all on my bit of paper.
Can't you get another bit of paper?
Well, yeah, but you know.
The next one we've written down is the Universal Championship match between The Fiend versus Daniel Bryan.
Yeah, okay. Universal Championship. Yeah, that's another one of the belts. Well, it's changed in that, like, they've changed the bright red to a slightly more subtle but still fairly bright shade of blue, which makes sense given that the Fiend defected over to SmackDown.
It's almost like they've switched the 2 titles around, just changed the names over.
Well, sort of, yeah. Well, yeah, Fiend Bray Wyatt versus Daniel Bryan for the Universal title. This one looks a potential main event to me, possibly. Rach, who have you got in this one?
I'm sorry, I'm just laughing at what Mr. Jam said. Last time he saw people work under a red light, he was in Amsterdam.
Yeah, I hope they do away with that at some point, because as a one-off, it was all right. Did it again with that Crown Jewel match, and it's a bit distracting and kind of I don't like it. Right, anyway, Rach.
I don't think they're going to take the belt off the Fiend. Only after it, simply because they just won it. Now, I've heard rumours, I don't know how true they are, but Liv Morgan might be teaming up with Bray Wyatt. I don't know how true those are, but she's been putting like load of cryptic tweets out.
It's a bit weird.
Yeah.
How's that going to work?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, this is the first I've heard of it. I mean, it'd be fair, give someone like Liv Morgan, who, but he's one of these who kind of feels like just another member of the roster at times. And I think actually I do remember a couple of months ago now there was talk of like her having a bit of a character reboot, a bit of a revamp of. But I didn't know. I didn't hear about her being associated with the Fiend at all. So interesting.
James has just made a good point. Said about it could be Sister Abigail, because we've never seen her.
I think sorry. I think my chat's been a bit slow. Anyway, carry on, Rach, while I see if I can refresh this.
I don't think they're going to take the belt off him straight away, because he just won it. So I'm going to say the Fiend retains.
Okay, the Fiend retains.
Let's say welcome to BMX Gamer.
Yeah, Yep, was just about to. Jason once again took the words out of my mouth. My good man. Thank you for joining us. We are discussing tomorrow night Survivor Series, and Vicky, Fiend versus Debray. Who've you got in this one?
I'm gonna take Bray in this one because I agree with Rach. I don't think they're gonna take the title off him this soon. He just won it, and I really do like the character and everything that Bray portrays, whether it is Bray himself or the Fiend. I do, however, like the fact that Daniel's using this whole psychological thing as a basis to why he is going after this match, because he's just as nuts as Bray is. And it kind of goes back to the past, as he said last night. It goes back to the past where Bray and him were at odds as well, whereas Bray kidnapped him and tried to turn him against everybody else and whatever. I think that could be a storyline that could go back into what it was back then, and Daniel turned dark. Because he doesn't want to do the yes movement anymore. He doesn't want to do the no movement. And he doesn't, you know what I mean? Like, so I mean, that could be. But yeah, I'm definitely picking Bray on this one just because of the fact that he just won it. And he needs to be. He's one of those wrestlers that's not promoted enough and should be.
Okay, we've got 2 for the Fiend. Are you going to make it a fiendish 3, Jason, or are you leaning more toward Debray?
I think regardless, it's going to be a good match, right? You could argue that, well, for what, yes, certainly DB needs more of a push than he's been getting of late. You have the whole thing with, was it Eric Rowan and all that, which was, it was all right.
Yeah.
But they could have done so much better with him. I think, yeah, I mean, I agree. I don't think they're going to take the belt off him yet. I think there's going to be a lot of shenanigans going on, right? You know, just the 2 of them, but there's going to be weird stuff going on. If I was allowed to, I'd say a no contest, right? But which would mean the Fiend would win anyway. So I am going to go with the Fiend. But I think a lot of all this past nonsense with the Wyatt family and all the rest of it is going to come up. And I know they've kind of changed the belt over, but I heard he was supposed to get in a proper custom belt at some point.
Yeah.
So if that's the case,
I think if they were gonna do that, they would have done it right away rather than transition to the blue one. But perhaps if it's super long title run, we might see a custom belt, you know, further down the line.
Unless you see Bray with, because remember they're effectively 2 different people or 2 different personalities. You got Bray himself, when he's doing his Firefly Funhouse, always has the main belt. The Fiend comes out to the ring and he's wearing something completely different.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, anyway, but yeah, that's on a divergent point. I say the Fiend. I think the Fiend's going to win it.
Yep. 3 for the Fiend. I think this is a relatively easy one to predict for me. Really, I'm not expecting Daniel Bryan title. I think the Fiend, he's due for a long run. He's been booked well when there's none of this daft stuff that was happening, like with Hell in a Cell, which was just an utter shambles. But you know, the Fiend character's got to be kept pretty strong. I still don't think that's the sort of character that needs to be a world champion. I keep saying it, but you know, characters like that shouldn't be wrestling for titles. That doesn't feel like a sort of fiendish motivation. The Fiend's motivation should be just causing sort of famine and pestilence, not chasing after championships. You know, like you need your sporting sort of guys, like, you know, your sort of Brock Lesnar's when he's in the mood to be wanting championships, not bloody like someone like Bray Wyatt in his Fiend guys. But that's by the by. They've put the title on him, and that's fine. And hopefully, they'll give him a long run Universal title. It's difficult to think who might defeat him for it eventually, but that's, I think I've seen talk that they want the Fiend to be champion through to at least WrestleMania. So fair enough. So yeah, I predict Bray Wyatt for this one as well. So I think we've all predicted the same one. So we've all gone for the same thing. So we either all live by the sword or die by it. But I think this one's relatively safe, possibly the easiest match of the night to predict. I think we've only got one more match left, Rach, now, haven't we?
Yeah. The last match I've written down is Adam Cole versus TakeOver War Game winner for the NXT Championship.
Yeah, so NXT Championship defended at WWE pay-per-view for the first time, I think, unless my memories do me a disservice. It will be Adam Cole versus either Pete Dunne, brain fart, Killian Dane, or Damian Priest. Yeah. So we basically, it's a bit like the Crown Jewel thing where we didn't necessarily, we did predict who would be in the match, like the mystery opponent, but we've got to predict, a winner or a loser. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to this match. I can't wait for the triple threat number one contenders match at War Games. I'm so excited to see that tomorrow morning. And then because I'm just going to be so interested in seeing, who is going to represent the NXT Championship along with Adam Cole at such a big night as Survivor Series. Rach, any thoughts on who you think Cole will be facing, and also as we need to know for the predictions, do you think Cole will win or lose?
Just because I know what he could do, because I've watched him when he was also in the Independents, I think Killian Dane is going to win the War Game match to face Adam Cole in this match. But, like Jason said, we expect Undisputed Era to come out strong in this Survivor Series. So I think Adam Cole's going to retain.
Okay, so Adam Cole says Rach, and although her predicting Killian doesn't count towards the predictions, it's interesting to know everyone's thoughts on who they think will take that number one contender spot. So one for Adam Cole there. Kappa, Vicky, who have you got in the NXT title match?
I think all of these guys are awesome. I mean, they're tremendous wrestlers and everything else. I don't know too much about Killian and the other one, but I do know a lot about Adam Cole. I've seen how he does. He's a terrific wrestler, and he's really defended that title well. So I'm going to go with Adam Cole as well.
Okay, so you're not sure who you think Cole will be wrestling. Then you don't want to hazard a guess. It's not important for the predict. Yeah, you just got to wait and see.
Killian. I think he'll be wrestling Killian.
Fair enough. Yeah, I mean, like I say, predicting that doesn't go towards your prediction score. But yeah, fair enough. Jason, I'm sure you've got some thoughts on this one, the NXT title match between Adam Cole and question mark, and I don't mean question mark that weird guy going up on NWA Power.
The question marks.
He's getting really over as well. This guy is like. He's got like really ill-fitting sort of tights on, and like he's just like, and he's called the question mark. He's got like a mask on, and he's getting absolute massive. Well, as massive as you can get in like NWA Power, where like we just there's about 50 people watching, but yeah, it's weird.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I saw
but it's not him. It's he's not. He
that's
won't
a
be
shame.
showing up. Yeah,
that's a shame because I saw it. I saw his match against the apostrophe, and that was brilliant. Anyway,
only you,
moving on. Sorry. Right. So it's Dunn versus Killian versus
Priest.
Sorry.
Damien Priest.
Oh yeah, Damien Priest.
Damien
Okay.
Priest.
Damien Priest's not been around very long, has he?
No, he's a relatively newcomer, I'd say. I think
he's massively over though.
For like less than 3 months, I think.
Yeah, he's massively over. That I do know. Well, as far as that regards, I'd like to say Pete Dunne, right? Just because I'm a Pete Dunne fan, right? So that's that bit. Now, I think regardless of who Adam Cole goes up against, there'll be a great match anyway, whichever the three of them it is, right? You've got to believe that Adam Cole is going to stay champ. I think this is just the beginning of something else taking place. I would love Pete to win the title, but I think. How long ago did he lose his UK title?
It was around March time. March this year.
So maybe
around then.
Maybe a little bit early to put a title on him again just yet. Because you got to believe if he gets it, he's going to have another long run.
Well, so maybe not. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I'll go for Adam Cole, baby.
Adam Cole, baby, is the consensus between my co-panelists. Right. Yeah, I can't wait for this match. I've always said that. I certainly can't wait for the number one contenders match at War Games. I, like Jason, massive fan. I've said this before on this panel. I'll say it again. I thought his UK Championship reign was brilliant. I understood why he lost it to Volta, and Volta's great and all the rest of it. Yeah. But I would have just loved to have seen Pete Dunne get to at least 2 full years with that belt. I really would. Yeah. It was just really good to see such a long title reign that didn't feel like, oh, this is getting a bit boring. It didn't, because there wasn't like loads of title defenses like there is. Like you get a Universal title match and a WWE title match every month, whereas with the UK title you get one maybe once every 3 months, and it was just nicely paced. Really, it suited the NXT UK brand, and obviously, like I say, Pete Dunne, every match I've seen him in, I've just really enjoyed. So I'm certainly picking Pete Dunne to go forth and beat Killian Dane and Damien Priest in a triple threat match. That's not an official. We're not making predictions on that, but I do think Pete Dunne is going to be the one at Survivor Series to face Adam Cole. Now then, the NXT title being on Survivor Series, would people consider that? Would people now say that the NXT Championship is maybe a world championship now that's on the same level as the Universal title and the WWE title? Would people say that this is kind of like, the coming of age of, is like, are people now going to see the NXT champion in the same light as they would see, all your WWE champions of history like Hogan and Triple H and Steve Austin, blah, blah, blah?
If this is the main event, then yes.
I doubt it is. If anything, this one feels like a maybe sort of not pre-show, but it could be like a card opener or somewhere in the middle. Yeah. But it's just we happen to be sort of predicting it last. But I'd love it to be the main event, but I can't see this being the main event. It's not quite high profile enough, I don't think.
But they're all quite high profile matches.
Yeah, but it's historical because the NXT Championship, it's been defended on Survivor Series, a Big 4 pay-per-view, and I would like to see the NXT title in the same sort of terms as the other two world titles now, because it's the number one championship of a brand that is now supposedly equal to Raw and SmackDown. So that championship should be equal by proxy, really. And anyway, that's really by the by. But for me, it just I'm a big NXT fan. You know that I have been ever since I got the network, really.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, that brand's gone from strength to strength.
Absolutely.
And it's just great to see. I'm really excited for Survivor Series tomorrow, just with all the NXT involvement and everything. And this match is certainly probably the one I'm looking forward to the most, really. But you know what? My heart's saying, let Pete Dunne win, because Pete Dunne would just be a great champion on any brand. You know what?
Absolutely.
I would have put Pete Dunne against Lesnar tomorrow and let him come out strong, even if he didn't win. Just have him have a good show. I think even despite his stature and the fact his nickname's a play on the fact that technically he's cruiserweight sort of weight.
Yeah.
I think Pete Dunne is that legitimate of an athlete and has got that intense of a character that you can, in a way, it kind of reminds me of and this seems a bit of a weird thing to say, but it kind of reminds me of like a current era version of Chris Benoit in a way, which is, I'm not trying to be disrespectful to people who don't like hearing Benoit's name mentioned, but I'm on about Chris Benoit, the character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That kind of focused wrestling machine. I think Pete Dunne's kind of like that, an evolution of that, potentially be even better than Benoit. Because Benoit, for as great a wrestler as he was, he lacked charisma. I think Pete Dunne, I wouldn't say he's inundated with charisma, but he's got that kind of he's got a kind of intensity to him when he talks, and it's always weird to hear someone with kind of a Birmingham accent on WWE programming, but he can't help where he's from. Like just think of Big Inzy, like he survived on YouTube talking like that all this time. I mean, it's taking me ages to make a prediction here because I'm trying to delay saying Adam Cole as long as possible because I really want Pete Dunne to win, but. I was gonna pick Pete Dunne up until I don't know, maybe 10 15 ago, and then I'm like, well, yeah, I think the Undisputed Era all need to come out of Survivor Series as still. Well, I mean, I know the other championships aren't on the line because they're non-title matches, but
yeah,
if Cole loses and then he gets to NXT on Wednesday, and it's like, oh, we've got our belts, Fish, Riley, Strong, and then Cole's coming out sort of, he's got the grumps and everything because he lost to Pete Dunne or, Killian or Damien, then, so I've got to go with the consensus. I've got to make it 4 for 4 here and say Adam Cole. But if Pete Dunne actually wins the NXT title tomorrow, then I would be delighted because I think Pete Dunne... he would be someone, if he did get moved to SmackDown or Raw, I would really hope that they actually put him, they made him a main eventer straight away because I've just become such a fan of his work over the last couple of years. And I think he can be a legitimate threat to anyone. I really do.
I'll tell you someone else he kind of reminds me a little bit of. Well, people think this is a bit weird. There's elements of William Regal in there as well.
Yeah. I think that's fair to say. Yeah.
Talking about that, do you remember when Pete Dunne first turned up to NXT UK and he kept beating the heck out of people?
Yeah.
After he got eliminated from the competition, he started beating the hell out of people.
Yeah. The original UK title tournament. Yeah, I mean that's the thing is, he was a brilliant heel, and he kind of turned babyface sort of like in the midst of his title reign, more not by anything he did particularly, but just like he was so over, and obviously they just started to play on his real life friendship with Tyler Bate and
I think
and the link there, and he just became a baby face, just not by accident, but kind of it was like a natural sort of progression.
It's
really,
a bit like Austin. It's a bit like Austin, though, isn't it? Really, because Austin was a bad guy, wasn't he?
Oh, thank you, Mr. Something Basic. Sorry, I just want to interrupt you there. He stopped by to hit the like button. Really appreciate that, Mr. Something Basic.
Thank you.
That's great. Thank you so much.
But,
sorry, Jace, carry on.
But Austin, right, is complete git to the other wrestlers, and yet he was over as anything. I mean, you could say The Rock as well. He went from being a heel to being a face, and yet all the insults he was doing to people and humiliating people, and yet he was still over as a face.
Yep.
And I don't think Pete's done anything different from what he was doing before. He's just,
I just worry because it's not, it's not written in stone that Pete Dunne's going to go to Raw or SmackDown, and logic would say that he doesn't need to. He's fine, sort of on NXT, and that also means that there's scope for him to maybe go back to NXT UK one day, even though that might eventually be seen as too minor a brand for him to be on full time, but. That's a different topic for a different day, really. I just worry that because he's not that sort of 6'6", tall. He's got a great physique. He's not exactly a slob.
He's not a giant,
physically speaking.
Yeah.
No, and his nickname's the Bruiserweight. I mean, can you imagine Vince McMahon really getting behind a guy whose nickname rhymes with cruiserweight? It just doesn't feel like it would happen. But this is why when Triple H takes over the whole company properly, whenever that day will come, that's when you can really see people like Pete Dunne. And even guys like Tyler Bate and other British guys, smaller guys, but guys who are capable of delivering 5-star matches every time. I can see them being like the future WWE champions, future Universal champions. But if we can talk about the NXT championship being of the same level as the Raw and SmackDown world titles, then that's why not just why not say that's the bar. That's a high enough bar to get to, really. So that's why, for me, it'd be nice if the NXT Championship gets that extra level of prestige after Survivor Series.
I can't see Vince retiring until he's 90.
Oh, yeah.
He ain't going to give up the reins easy.
He's not going to retire until, they basically digging the hole in the ground. Even then, I'm not dead yet. Stop digging.
Hey, book Baron Corbin in a title match, even though he's like 50 years old now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think we've made all the predictions, haven't we? I mean, I know I've kind of gone off, well, not off topic, but I've kind of talked a lot about. I mean, and basically the end bit's just been a love letter to Pete Dunne, really, hasn't it? Oh, Pete Dunne, will you be my Valentine?
There you go.
But yeah, big fan. Can't wait to see him at War Games. Hopefully, we'll see him also at Survivor Series. But either way, I think. Plus, don't forget Cole versus Dane. That would be heel versus heel, which I think is a little bit unlikely. Damian Priest. It's difficult to tell if he's a heel or not. Really, the way he's been acted, he kind of feels more like a heel now. But he was certainly a face when he started out. So. But yeah, it's got to be done. But yeah, that was the Survivor Series. So I'm banging my elbow on my new cabinet there.
Ow!
No, well, I scraped it. Could have been a lot worse. But that was the Survivor Series predictions. Lot of fun tonight, guys. Thank you to everyone who's come in the chat. Yeah, more. I'm going to stop the Baron Corbin fan fiction now, James. So I'm going to write some people. That's what I'm really passionate about. That shower scene involving the bruiserweight. And yeah, anyway.
Oh boy.
Yeah, so I want to thank my co-panelists for a great show once again. Great to have the four of us all together again. Hopefully, it'll be the same for TLC, where we will be crowning the first predictions champion for 2019. So that's a lot to look forward to. Look at Rach; she's already salivating at the prospect of winning that title already.
Not that way. It is.
But yeah, so thank you to Rach Kappa, to the Night Owl, and to Not Suitable for Mum for a great panel once again. And thank you to everyone who's been in the chat and who's commented and
thank you guys.
left their predictions. So yeah, really appreciate it every time when people come in and join us. So thank you to everyone and anyone who might be watching on replay as well. That's going to be it for us. We're going to watch War Games. Vicky may watch it live. I don't know. Rach might watch it live. If Rach is pretty hardcore. I think Rach has stayed up for a few nights. Yeah. Oh, there you go. Whereas me and Jason, as we're the men, we're kind of a bit old and weedy, and we're the weaker sex. So we're going to have to wait till tomorrow morning, I think. But I'll certainly be watching some. And obviously, we'll be back doing the live panel show for Tables, Ladders, and Chairs on the presumably Saturday before that. So I can't remember the date, but I'll put a video up about it at some point. But thank you, everyone, and we'll see you next month for the next one. Cheers, everyone. Goodbye.
It's all right, a bit.